Hello. So hopefully you got maybe a little bit of a giggle out of that worst idea for breakfast cereal task. It can be a little bit of fun, but let's take a moment to reflect on that. And I guess one thing for you to consider to think about, is it easier to come up with bad ideas, those worst ideas, than good ideas? And I think connected into that is the fact that sometimes as adults, we tend to self-edit. Have an idea, maybe you think it's good, and you say, no, that'll never work. So almost forcing yourself to come up with worst ideas then can give you the freedom to share the good ideas. Um, are there other factors that you think might inhibit your own creativity, your ability to come up with solutions or to share solutions? So worst idea as a little task is a great technique to fire up the creative juices. Again, getting straight into it, having a little bit of fun. And I think the other thing really is to think about, could any of your worst ideas, so a little bit of inverted thinking, potentially be turned into good ideas? So just a few reflection points on that worst ideas task. Where we left before that little creative interlude was that you came up with a point of view statement in relation to the litter challenge. So you focused in on a specific user, their need, their problem to be solved, and then making sure that this was following on from something, a key insight that you got in the empathy stage. So what I'd like you to do now, because we'll be working with those problem statements in this video, is to select one problem statement that you came up with in relation to your litter challenge. This is perhaps you came up with a few. I'd like you to pick one to work with now as we move into the ideation stage. So make sure that you have one problem statement that's come out of the work you did in empathy in relation to litter. Again, here's our process. And finally, we're moving into this ideation stage, but that's only once we've spent a good bit of time in the empathy stage, learning about the problem area, throwing out that fishing net, gathering lots of insights and information, focusing in then defining a specific problem to be solved, which you did in the previous video. And now we'll move into ideation, the brainstorming, the creativity, trying to develop solutions to the problems that you've identified based on your findings from empathy. So ideation. So again, make sure that you've selected one of your problem statements if you came up with more than one. And to begin, I just want to remind you that we're not trying to solve every last thing about litter, every problem associated with litter. If we're solving one problem for one group of people, one situation, one user group, that's great. So a couple of rules of ideation to get us started. So again, you can use Post-it notes, real Post-it notes if you've got them at home or in the office, or you can use a virtual whiteboard with a Post-it note feature. So a couple of rules of ideation. One idea, one solution per Post-it note. Making sure that you refer to insights you've gained. And that just kind of means make sure that you're referencing back to your problem statement that came from the insights you gained in empathy. In the early stages of ideation, we are deferring judgment. There are no bad ideas. And you might remember back in the IDEO shopping cart video that we saw in module 1, they use a bell. They ring the bell. If somebody starts to shoot down an idea and say, that's not a good idea, that's a bad idea, that will never work, they ring a bell just to keep themselves in check, to keep themselves in the going for volume, the idea generation, coming up with as many ideas as you can. If you're working with others on this one, you might build on the ideas of others and adopt a yes and kind of mindset. Yes, and also, what if it did this? And throughout encouraging wild ideas. So again, there are no bad ideas. Anything and everything is possible in the early stages of ideation. In the IDEO video, again, they refer to it as focused chaos. So loads of ideas flying all over the place, getting them down onto Post-it notes, as many as you can. So there are a couple ways of thinking about potential ideas. One is trying to come up with grounded ideas. So these are very practical things, maybe that could be done within the next couple of weeks, next couple of months, that might require a huge amount of resources. Along with grounded ideas, I'd encourage you to try to come up with blue sky ideas. So these are things that are a little bit more out there, maybe require some emerging technologies, maybe a few more resources. And then following on from the blue sky ideas, you also may try to come up with some moonshot ideas. And these are the really wacky, weird, wild out there ideas that probably maybe even require things that technologies that don't yet exist, or that are very far off on the horizon, maybe require lots and lots of resources. But it's great to try to encourage yourself to come up with some moonshot ideas as well. So to begin, now make sure you do have your problem statement in relation to litter to hand, so you can refer back to it. I'm going to lead you through a series of prompts, and I'm going to give you about 30 seconds or so per prompt. And this is just to get you thinking about potential solutions in some different ways. So again, about 8 or 10 prompts I'm going to lead you through. We'll give 30 seconds on each of them just to get you started with a few ideas. And I guess I'll say you mightn't be able to come up with something for each of them, but do give it a go. So make sure you've got your litter problem statement to hand. And to begin, I'd like you to do an ideas dump. So what are the first solutions that come to mind? How might you solve that problem? Ideas dump. First solutions that come to mind, and we'll give you 30 seconds for that. Okay, so again, referring to your problem statement, your point of view statement. We did worst ideas in the last video. Let's do a little bit of that. So get the worst ideas, and you might come back to them later and invert them, try to make them good ideas, but just have a little bit of fun. Worst way that you could solve your problem. And we'll give that 20 or 30 seconds. Okay, next prompt for you is to try to come up with a couple of solutions that somehow leverage social media. So your Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever it might be. Is there a way to solve your problem using social media? Okay, next prompt is to come up with solutions that use emerging or future technology. So solutions that utilize emerging or future technology. So artificial intelligence, immersive media, things like VR and AR, robots, any type of emerging or future technology. So these are likely to be more the blue sky or moonshot ideas. Try to come up with a couple of solutions like this. And again, another 20 or 30 seconds. Okay, now I'd like you to try to come up with solutions to the problem you've identified that you focused in on, and solutions that cost less than €1. So low cost solutions, and we'll give you a couple seconds to do some of these. Okay, and following on from those, now we're giving you a big budget. So come up with solutions. They have to cost more than, we'll say, €1 million. €1 million solutions to the problem you've identified. Okay, now come up with solutions to your problem statement about litter that are inspired in some way by Ryanair. Solutions inspired by Ryanair. That one's always a little bit of fun. Now solutions inspired by the TV show Friends. A bit of an older show now, but you might be able to take some inspiration from it. And if you're not familiar with the show Friends, maybe just pick your favorite TV show and give it 30 seconds or so to come up with solutions that are in some way inspired by that show. Okay. Now solutions, but they have to be an object that would fit into a pocket. So we're looking for objects that are pocket sized. So our way to solve your litter problem through an object that would fit into a pocket. Okay. So that's the end of the prompts. And we do this for a few reasons. The first is to get you thinking about potential solutions in a more broad way. I think a lot of times, especially, you came into the Ideas Academy with your own project, your own idea, or potentially in thinking about the litter challenge. I think a lot of times we have this notion that it's going to be a certain way, that it's going to be an awareness campaign, or it's going to be an app, whatever it might be. So by working through these prompts, you're thinking about potential solutions that maybe wouldn't have occurred to you. You're thinking about opportunities in different ways. Again, it also helps us go for volume. So coming up with lots of different, distinct, diverse solutions, that as many as you can. Every idea at this stage is a good idea. We'll look at idea selection in the next video. So it's all about volume in this idea generation stage. I think the other thing that these prompts are helpful with is a little sense check of your problem statement. Can you come up with different solutions to your problem statement, or really is it just looking like you have a solution contained within your problem statement? It's not to say that you should have had a couple of ideas for each of those prompts. Some of them might have just been not quite right, but it is a good way to check, can I come up with multiple different, distinct, diverse solutions to my point of view statement, to my problem statement? So again, these are the rules of ideation. One idea per Post-it note, deferring judgment. There are no bad ideas. You're going for volume, you're building on your ideas, yes, and that you see one idea and it inspires the next and the next and the next, and that you're encouraging yourself to come up with wild ideas. The bell, again, from the IDEO video keeps yourself in check, or keeps the team in check, that there isn't the kind of idea selection process going on simultaneously with the idea generation process. So your task is going to be to continue on from that little ideation jam that we did together. to come up with as many solutions as you can to the litter challenge, the problem that you focused in on in relation to litter. So I want you to be coming up with 10, 15, 20, 30, lots of different, distinct, diverse solutions. That is your task. I hope you enjoy it. And in the next video, we'll look at how to select an idea to progress with. Enjoy.